Peony by Milani. Oh, what was that? Mm. There you go. That's better. Hello, Dove Gurowitz. I'm sorry, I probably butchered that. How are you doing? I'm doing all right. How about you? Sticker. Q&A. Ask a question. Cats. Dogs. Or other. Done. Put it up here. Start. Hello, Johnny Kazada. Yay, 2 likes already. And we're just getting started. First you wet the dry, and then you dry the wet. And then you wet it, and then you dry it. Then you wet it, then you dry it. You get the idea. Hello, love, love. Yeah, I agree. Cats and dogs are both nice. I've got 1 dog and 2 cats. I want to get more pets. I want to get a snake and a spider. And I want backyard animals. I want chickens and a goat and meat rabbits. I'm doing all right. How are you? It's good to have a chatter. Usually I do these live streams and nobody actually talks to me, or if they do, they'll say something and maybe stick around for like 2 to 5 minutes, and then like they'll disappear and I'll never hear from them ever again. And I'm like, no, come back. I am cooking a recipe that my Nana either discovered or came up with in the 60s or earlier and passed down to my mother, who passed down to me. And it's called BEEFARONI, and it's real simple. You take a pound of beef and pantry ingredients and you make pasta. So it's like macaroni but with beef in it, and in this particular version there's a can of tomato paste and a can of Campbell's condensed cream of cheddar soup. Grayson votes dog. We've got to vote for dog. Manuel votes dog. We've got 2 votes for dog. I'll be right back. So we've got a block of Great Value brand Velveeta. This is the 16-ounce block. We've got the Great Value 6-ounce can of tomato paste. We've got Great Value penne. And we've got condensed Campbell's cheddar soup. Yeah, I love when traditions get passed down, especially like if history repeats itself and like your ancestors came up with a trick to get through it and they're like, hey, do this, and you're like, oh my god, I would never think of that on my own, you know? And now that I'm broke, I'm looking for a job, I can't look for a job until I register my bike. I have to register my bike as a moped. But once I register my bike for a moped, I will look for jobs and probably live paycheck to paycheck for a while. And I'm getting on SSI, and I'm working towards getting SSDI. And so I've been trying to make money stretch as far as possible. And canned goods are so, affordable, compared to fresh goods. I am. I own 2 acres, and the front acre is dedicated to native prairie plants, especially if they feed pollinators. So I've got a bunch of um, the proper kind of butterfly milkweed and other various plants that are native, and then a whole ton of like wheat of some sort growing in my front acre. And the back acre, I've got a blackberry bush. It's huge. I haven't picked it yet this year because it's been raining all week long. I keep picking up seeds and not getting around to planting them, so I think I'll plant them next year. When I was younger, my parents had what I call a victory garden, which is a garden full of vegetables and fruits that you can grow at home to save money on the grocery bill. I did not like squash. I did not like zucchini. I did like green beans and bell pepper and pumpkin, and they would make tomatoes into spaghetti, and I would like it if they seasoned it right. What else? Cucumbers. We made pickles. We made homemade pickles from cucumbers that we grew ourselves. That was fun. And one time we made root beer, the old-fashioned way, where it's 1% alcohol. That was fun. Yeah, a lot of people need to grow food with what little land they have, and if they don't have land, they need to get together with their neighbors and find a plot of land to share the rent on and make a community garden. Yeah, I feel like the strategy of the upper class right now is to keep us so distracted by our bills and our wages being low and prices being high that we are just exhausted and don't think of how to become a community together. And so we become more and more isolated, and we become hyper independent, and end up like shooting ourselves in our own foot trying to make things better when we're actually just becoming isolated, you know? If we had community spaces, like a lot of people are quitting alcohol, and that's like leaving a huge gap in the generation where we don't have social spaces to hang out like drinkers do. So everybody's like making friends online instead of in person, and it's like it's nice, but it's not the same. You gotta have both. Yeah, eventually it'll become necessary. Otherwise, the alternative is just fizzling out. It's a dog eat dog world. You gotta eat or be eaten. That's one of the things me and my ex didn't work out on, is I told her I was a prepper, and she's like, no way, me too. And then we got married, and she's like, yeah, so if the apocalypse happens, anybody who joins our group cannot leave. If they try to leave, I will shoot them. And I'm like, we will not work out. That's not how I'm going to do it. I was like, I have a bunch of rations that I'm going to share with the neighborhood. And he's like, no, we save everything we have for ourselves. And I'm like, you're going to die so quickly in the apocalypse. Oh my God. And then I'll loot your body. This is Great Value seasoned salt. It's like Lowry's seasoned salt, but Great Value. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I hate when people, uh, have no access to social spaces without alcohol, and B, when that creates this, cycle where they associate socialization with alcohol and therefore they cannot relax in a social setting without alcohol, and that can spiral real quickly into a drinking problem. And I feel like there's so many libraries closing that we need to start protesting uh, tax cuts more. When they stop funding yeah, that's what it's called. Municipal services and other free spaces to hang out. We need to get together and say, hey, we are citizens and we do not like that. It's almost like it's by design. Yeah, I know, right? It's like every time somebody invents something that's a good idea, somebody is like, I know a way to ruin this. And it happens to be profitable, so they go through with it. That and gambling. Sports betting is getting huge. Yeah, they just made an app for it. And I'm like, uh-oh. A lot of people are going to get addicted to it that weren't addicted before. I think that if one thing being life-crushingly addictive can be regulated and legalized, we should make everything life-crushingly addictive able to be regulated and legalized. Like, if alcohol can ruin my life, why can't I do a little recreational heroin and meth, And that way, if I have trouble with it, I could go to the police and say, hey, I'm having trouble with this. But no, we have to make it illegal so the police can profit off of it instead of, you know, making their job more enjoyable and fulfilling. Adding an eighth of a cup of water. That and gambling. I saw a video of these people in Armenia. They have a festival where everyone gathers during the summer and douses each with water. It looks so fun. Yeah! When it's real hot out, like the hottest day of the year, or the hottest week of the year, that would be awesome, especially in Texas. I was, I was homeless living on the streets during the hottest month in Texas 2021, and one of my strategies to avoid heat stroke and stuff like that was to wear wet clothing. So I would go to a gas station bathroom, take off all my clothes, stick them in the cold water in the sink, and then put them back on. And I would just go back to walking. It worked, especially while, you know, like, my friends had people in their lives dying of heat stroke because we were all on the streets, and people... It was weird trying to find water that wasn't full of lead and parasites and stuff like that. Like, there was only so few people who was willing to give us water for free that some people would literally die of dehydration and heat stroke. It was sad. Oh, and fucking the blizzard! It was not a real blizzard. But boy, it shut down society. Yeah, it was unfortunate, but you know, it made me a stronger person. You know, I like to look on the bright side. But in February, we got like 2 inches of 2 to 3 inches of snow. Some places got 5 inches, and it shut down society for a month. A month. There were entire motels that had to refund people's rooms and send them to other counties where the pipes weren't busted, because the pipes were busted for so many consecutive days that the police would shut down motels. It was wild. I'm glad I didn't have, you know, like kids in school back then, you know? My daughter is 4, she's about to start school next year. Thankfully, we live somewhere that it's, you know, it's moderate, but also we're prepared for winter. Alright, now to drain it. Yeah, it's interesting how the same amount of snow impacts places differently depending on where you live. America is a big place. Okay. The fuck? Oh, the back of it. I have 2 children. I have a 4-year-old girl, and she got adopted by 2 ladies when I was still homeless. And then I have a 3-year-old boy who I am in a custody battle over. I want to have more kids in the future, but I'm nowhere near ready yet. So I might freeze some of my eggs and wait until I'm 35. Alright, there is that. Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where your kid does not know how terrified you are until they have kids of their own, you know? One can of cheddar soup worth of water. Put it on medium low. And the water is on high. Well, it's always good to wait, especially if you have the option of waiting, you know? There's no such thing as being too prepared, you know? I feel like I wasn't ready and I had them anyway. So I feel like if I had waited longer, things would have gone better. Like my mom, she had me when she was 36 and had my older sibling when she was 35. And we don't have any older siblings than that. It's just the 2 of us. So it's like kind of trippy to think about her having me at a later age than I am now, and she's no longer with us. So it's like, wow. She really had me at 36. Wow. It's just kind of impressive. Like, to have the desire to have children and yet wait till you're really that ready. That's impressive to me. Yeah, it's pretty young. Yeah, she was 62 years old when she passed away, and she was born in the year 62. So I adopted 62 as my angel number, as how she sends me messages from the beyond. So like when my thermostat is 62 on its own in the spring, that's usually her saying hi. Which is always right in time for her memorial in May. Why is this so smoky? Oh, because it's new. Yeah, I saw this one lady, she had two kids at the same time in her 60s. One because something to do with like freezing eggs, and they were about to expire, so she had to use them or lose them. And she's like, well, might as well have one. And then she got approved while pregnant for an adoption. Okay, it's bubbling. It's just really low. Yeah, it's kind of amazing what modern medicine becomes capable of within our lifetime, you know? And to think about it, how it's going to accelerate within my kid's lifetime after I'm gone. They'll probably have cyborgs and like cyberpunk where you can upload your consciousness to the cloud and download it into a new body. They'll probably have that in, I don't know, 100, 200 years. Hopefully there'll be a cure for Alzheimer's by then and a lot of other things. Yeah, I hope so too. Uh, if they can figure out um, the link between schizophrenia and dementia, I bet they can start work to prevent Alzheimer's before it forms. You know? One of my family members that I never really got it. Well, I met her once and that was it. Uh, Passed away. I met her in 2023. No. I met her in 2022, and she has since passed away. But when I met her, she was already diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So when I heard that, I was like, "Oh yeah, don't get attached." I used to work in a nursing home, and they kept telling me, "Don't get attached. Don't get attached. I know you want to. They're sweet people, but don't get attached." And I would get attached anyway. I would say, "Nah, I'm gonna put my whole heart into this." I'm thinking about returning to being a nursing assistant, but at a hospital instead of a nursing home. I would have to certify, but I could do it. Alright, let's pour some penne into this pasta water. I'm gonna make the whole thing of pasta, and if I don't use it all, that is okay. I will use the cooked pasta for something else. Oh, I forgot to put a timer. Message redacted. Wow, 4 likes. 4 likes in only 1 hour. You always want to stir your noodles occasionally. Otherwise, they might stick together if the heat dips too low, even for like 10 seconds. Because after the 10 seconds of the burner being off, the water has to catch back up. So that extends the time that it's dipped below. You have to go, okay, I will see you next time. Love you. I'll be right back. That's right. Meow at the food to taste better. meal prep. And dinner. I will see y'all in the next one. Love you. Bye.